All right, ladies and gentlemen of the YouTube citizens, y'all know who this is. This is your boy Dash the True Inferno. And it's another Throwback Tunes on another Thursday, and it's time to get paid. Paid in full, that is. Yeah, that was a bit of a corny joke right there, but whatever. That's the album I'm reviewing right here. Paid in Full by the duo Eric B and Rakim. So yeah, y'all should know who Rakim is, and hopefully y'all should know who Eric B is. So, this joint came out July 7th, 1987. Yes. And this joint was recorded from 1986 up to 1987. I was barely born. Like, I was like around 3 years old. Actually, no, I haven't even turned 3 yet. I was a month away from turning 3. So, wow, that was crazy. All right, so this joint was their debut album, by the way. And it was recorded in the home studio of Marley Marl, and we all should know who that is. And it was also recorded at Power Play Studios in New York City. So, here's the deal. I'll get more of the background info in this regarding this album in a second. But anywho, this joint was under 4th and B Ray and Island Records. 4th and B Ray Records and Islands Record. I think that's what it is. Island Record? Yeah, Island Records. So, the producers involved were Eric B and Rakim. That's it. So, let me give you guys some background info in regards to this album. So, the duo met in 1985 after Eric B was looking for a rapper to complement his turntable work at the New York City radio station WBLS. So, obviously, Eric B is the producer and he's the beat maker and the disc jockey and so forth and whatnot. After Rakim responded to Eric B's search for New York's top MC, quote, end quoted, Eric B's friend and roommate, Marley Marl, allowed him to use his home studio. The first track they recorded, Eric B is President, was released as a single on the independent Zakia Records in 1986. After Def Jam Records founder Russell Simmons heard the single, the duo was signed to Island Records and began recording the album in Manhattan's Power Play studio in early 1987. Rakim wrote his songs in approximately 1 hour while listening to the beat. He then recorded his vocals in the booth by reading his lyrics from a paper. In 2006, Rakim revealed, and I quote, "When I heard my first album today, I hear myself reading my rhymes, but I'm my worst critic," end quote. The duo completed the album in 1 week, which was pretty crazy. They have said that they worked in 48-hour shifts and recorded in single takes to complete the album within budget. In a 2008 interview with All Hip Hop, I'm assuming this is allhiphop.com, Eric B stated, and I quote, "To sit here and say we put together this calculated album to be a great album would be a lie. We were just doing records that felt good," end quote. The album's success led to a contract with Uni Records and MCA Records, where they released their second album, Follow the Leader, which came out in 1988. Eric B and Rakim are credited as officially producing Paid in Full, as I said already. And Eric B has argued that Marley Marl was only an engineer. And wow, so here's some more interesting scenario right here. In 2003, Eric B alleged that the duo had not been fully paid for their work and filed a lawsuit against the Island Def Jam Music Group, Laura Cohen, and Russell Simmons. So that's pretty interesting right there. And this album is very influential. You should know this. If you're a hip-hop head, you should know how big of an album this is. All right, so let me give you guys some stats in regards to this album. So this joint was 58th on the Billboard 200 charts. It was 8th on the top R&B/hip-hop albums, 30th out in the mega charts, which is the Netherlands, 41st on the official New Zealand music charts, obviously you know where, and 85th on the UK album charts, obviously you know where, and this was platinum. This is their only album that they did together that made it up to platinum. Everything else was either gold or didn't get certifications at all. Now, let me give you guys the track listings. There's only 10 tracks. So fortunately, I can only give you guys a top 3, not a top 5, but there's no skips. The first track, man, we talk about one of the most legendary classic hip-hop tracks of all time here. I Ain't No Joke. That's the first track right there. Second track is called Eric B is on the Cut. And I ain't gonna say I'm gonna warn you, but I'm gonna inform you that there's a few of these tracks on here where they just Eric B, disc jockeying, with the turntables and the scratching and things of that nature. There's no lyrics of any kind on a few of these tracks, and this is one of them right here. Next up is My Melody, followed by I Know You Got Soul. Now, actually, I forgot to mention this. There's 6 singles off of this album. Let me rephrase that. There are 5 singles off of this album, but 6 of them did make the charts, so I'll put it like that. I Ain't No Joke is one of them, obviously, and My Melody is not one of the singles. And the next track is a single, which is called I Know You Got Soul, followed by Move the Crowd, which is another single. Next up is, ironically enough, the name of the album, which is Paid in Full. That's an actual track, and that's a single as well. Next up is As the Rhyme Goes On, which is another single. And actually, that's the track right there. That's not a single. That's the track I was talking about. That did make the charts. It was not an official single, or at least not a single in the US anyway. But let's continue on. Next up is Chinese Arithmetic, and I believe that one was also, there's no lyrics in that one as well. And actually, there was only 2 like them. I'm gonna apologize. There was only 2, not a few, but just 2 of them like that. Next up is another single, which is called Eric B is President, and track number 10 is called Extended Beat. Now, here's the thing with this one. This one, there was no scratches, but there was no lyrics. It was just a beat. That was it. So there you go with that. So let's talk about these singles. So there's 4 singles with some background info on. And let's start off with the first one, which is called Eric B is President. As I said, this was the first song that they did together. So here's the deal with this one. This joint came out in 1986, and the bass line is an interpolation of Fonda Ray's Over Like a Fat Rat. Marley Marl is often credited with handling production duties of the song, but again, Eric B has disputed this in recent interviews, saying, and I quote, "I took Fonda Ray's Over Like a Fat Rat and said, this is the bass line I'm going to use for the record. Joaquin spit the beer all over the wall and thought it was the funniest shit in the world. I told Joaquin, just like you laughing now, you're going to be laughing all the way to the bank and be a millionaire one day because of this record." As far as the production controversy, Eric B told allhiphop.com, and I quote again, "I took the records to Marley Marl's house in Queensbridge and paid Marley Marl to be the engineer. Marley got paid. That's why he's not a producer. That's why he is not getting publishing. I brought the music. I just couldn't work the equipment because that's not what I did." Wow, okay. So, yeah, there you go with that. So, did this make the... I want to say this did make the charts. Let me double check. It should make the charts. Actually, it did. It was 48th on the top or Hot R&B/hip hop songs chart. So that's it. That's all it did. All right, moving on to the second single. And again, we all should know this one. I Ain't No Joke. So yeah, this is the one, in my opinion, that got them on the map right here. So this joint came out sometime in 1987, and it is described as one of the album's monumental singles. Michael D. Bella wrote in the All Music Guide to Rock that, and I quote, "Joaquin grabs the listener by the throat and illustrates his mastery of the rhyming craft," end quote. So there is a music video for this one. In fact, was there a music video for Eric B is President? I'm gonna have to say no. No, there wasn't. There was no music video for that one. All right, so going back to I Ain't No Joke. I gotta say that like that. But anywho, the music video features Flavor Flav from Public Enemy. He was in there dancing. He was in there sitting down, kind of b-boying. He kind of looked dope in his music video, I will admit. The song was selected by Jay-Z for the NBA 2K13 soundtrack, and it was also featured in the video game Saints Row. So, a little bit of background info. Eric, I already talked about how they met, things of that nature. So, yeah, there you go with that. And according to Joaquin, the duo spent the week working on Paid in Full, with I Ain't No Joke taking most of it, 4 days. In an interview with Spin Magazine, Joaquin said that while writing the song, he deliberately avoided using obscene language. So in short, he did not cuss in his song. So here's the interview. Excuse me. "If you listen to the rhymes in I Ain't No Joke, you know I was really thinking hard about that shit. Plus, what I was doing was like, I was making it real hard, but no cusses or something they wouldn't want to play all day because they got it in power rotation. So I was thinking of the hardest shit I could think of, but still saying something. And obviously this was, believe it or not, like the words they used, it was all slang. Like something, S-U-M, apostrophe N, I crap you not, that they could play all day. Cause that's the whole idea of the rhymes I write. I could get real crazy, cause that was italicized, with rhymes, but they ain't gonna play it all day. And that's what's gonna get you paid. People constantly hearing it on the radio. I can make real stupid, S-T-O-O-P-I-D. I can make real stupid shit that they'll only play on the weekend. Then they'll have to bleep half the record out. But you know, I ain't living life like, well, I ain't living like that. I'm getting paid. I want to get paid, end quote. So yeah, there you go with that. And like I said, there was a music video for this song. And yeah, there you go with that. Now looking at the charts, it has to be more than that, I guess not. So it was 38th on the Hot R&B/Hip Hop Songs chart. Yeah, that's it. I'm kind of shocked at that. All right, moving on to the third single, which is called I Know You Got Soul. So this joint was a commercial and artistic success, and it was ranked by Rolling Stone 23rd on their list of top 50 hip hop songs, and 396 on their list of 500 greatest songs of all time list. That was pretty crazy. So this joint also came out in 1987, excuse me. And the song takes its name from a 1971 song of the same title, recorded by Bobby Bird, which it samples heavily and is frequently credited with popularizing the use of James Brown samples in hip hop songs. So I ain't gonna talk about all the samples, things of that nature. The song is featured on the fictional radio station Playback FM in the video game Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, which is, in my opinion, the greatest Grand Theft Auto game of all time. Don't dispute me on that. And in this song, the opening line, obviously, you all should know it, and it goes like this. It's been a long time. I shouldn't have left you. You know, so that's been used a lot, obviously. Timberland used it. And I ain't gonna get into it. And Most Def used it. A lot of people use that line. So yeah, there you go with that. Now let's look at the charts. And actually, was there a music video for this? I want to say no. I did not see a music video for this. But moving on, look at the charts. It was 76 on the UK singles charts, 39th on the US Billboard Hot Dance Club Play charts, 34th on the US Billboard Hot Dance Music / Maxi single sales, and 64th on the US Billboard Hot R&B/Hip Hop Songs charts. But in 1988, that was in 1987. In 1988, it moved up in the UK singles charts from 76 to 13. That's a big leap. That's a big jump right there, if I do say so myself. Now, are there any other charts that this joint made? Actually, what is this? 29th on something. Let me see. Yeah, this is new. I Know You Got Soul. Yeah, it's 29th on the Ultra Top chart. So yeah, that Belgium Flanders fiasco. Yeah, and it was also, yeah, this is some new stuff right here. So it was also 22nd on the Irish singles charts and 40th on the single top 100 charts, which was done by the Netherlands, excuse me. And yeah, so that's pretty interesting. The next single is called Move the Crowd, and Move the Crowd came out also in 1987. There's no background info on that one outside of the fact that it did make some charts, not in the US. It was 72nd on the singles top 100 charts, again, that's the Netherlands, and 53rd on the UK singles charts. Now let's move on to Paid in Full, which is another single. So this joint came out in 1987 as well, and it is the 5th single from this album. Paid in Full, believe it or not, I ain't no joke, but Paid in Full became one of the group's most successful singles, owning heavily to a popular remix of the song by English dance music duo Cold Cut. Never heard of them, but we're gonna move on from that. Alright, so not much of background info in regards to this particular song. And yeah, let's look at the charts. Alright, and actually I'll take that back. No, there's a little bit of background for here. Rolling Stone magazine named this song the 10th greatest hip-hop song of all time. So yeah, there you go with that. All right, so this joint was 49th on the French charts, 12th on the Germany charts, 5th out in the Netherlands, 2nd in New Zealand. Wow, that's good. 15th on the UK singles charts, and 65th on the US Hot R&B / hip hop songs charts. And let me double check to see if it make any other charts. See, here we go. 12th out on that ultra top list. I think I mentioned 49th in France, and yes, I did mention that. Moving on, I mentioned the Germany. It was 30th in the Irish. Yeah, I did not mention that. It was 30th on the Irish singles charts, 5th on the singles top 100, again out in the Netherlands. All right, so the last song is called As the Rhyme Goes On. That joint came out in 1988, excuse me. And actually, there's some conflicting info here, because Paid in Full, the song, they got it listed in 1987, but if I would look at the singles list, they got it listed as 1988, as does Move the Crowd, so that's weird. Moving on though, As the Rhyme Goes On, again, I'm not sure this is a single or this was like an international single, but this joint did reach as high as 81st out in the UK singles charts. So yeah, there you go with that. That's a lot of songs that made the charts. All right, so now let me give you guys my top tracks off this album from worst to first. My Melody is the worst track off the album. However, the beat is really cool. It's just that the tempo was a bit too slow for me. That's the only problem with this beat. Otherwise, it could have been higher. Next up is Extended Beat. I like the snare in this one. The beat is really, really cool. But yeah, it's the 9th best track off this album. Next up is Chinese Arithmetic. Again, I like the beat. It's dope. It's a bit unique with the melody, and again, no lyrics, like I said. Next up is Move the Crowd. I like the snare in this one. The beat is really cool. And then we got I Know You Got Soul. This is a classic right here. The beat is really cool here. And then, of course, we got Eric B is on the cut. This joint bangs with that old school rap flavor right here. And it's dope as heck. It just scratches, obviously. Now, As the Rhyme Goes On, here's the thing with this track. The beat is dope. That's why it's the 4th best track off this album. But if you were to listen to this track, that bass line kind of sounds familiar, don't it? A number of you old school hip hop heads should know what I'm talking about. So here's the deal with this track. As the Rhyme Goes On samples 4 songs, but we're going to talk about this one song in particular, and that is this. I'm Gonna Love You Just a Little More, Baby by Barry White. And the reason why I want to put focus on that particular song is because of the bass line. That bass line is used in other songs such as No Ideas Original by Nas and Grown Man Business by Mos Def featuring Minnesota. So that's how I recognize that bass line. Now granted, the pitch for the bass line are different compared to that Mos Def and that Nas song, which is basically the same beat from the song that was in the Paid in Full album, which is again called, I forgot that quickly. I'm just playing As the Ride Goes On. The pitch for the bass line is different. This one is a bit like lower in comparison to the beat that we use in Nas song and Mos Def song, but it's still dope nevertheless. That's how I was able to recognize it. Like I barely recognized it. Like, wait a minute. The pattern sounds familiar, even though that pitch is different. And I was able to pinpoint exactly what it is. And boom, there you go right there. So let me give you guys my top 3 tracks off this album. The best track off this album is Paid in Full. This is a classic right here. Very inspirational and it's very, very dope. Next up is Eric B is President. This beat is dope as heck, and this is again another classic. And of course, number 1, I Ain't No Joke. I mean, come on, dog. This is a classic. Come on, bro. You cannot hate on I Ain't No Joke. I mean, come on. You can't hate on that song. So that's my top 3 off this album. Let me give you guys some professional ratings, then I'm gonna wrap this up. So, oh my gosh, I'm looking at these ratings. Okay. So Pitchfork gave it a 7.8 out of 10. And the Village Voice gave it a B. And Music with a Z and Q gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Everybody else gave them perfect scores. All Music, Blender, Encyclopedia of Popular Music, the Rolling Stone Album Guide, all gave it 5 out of 5 stars, and Spin Alternative Record Guide gave it a 10 out of 10. So, I'm gonna ask myself the stupid question here because the answer is obvious here. What do I think about? I mean, come on, this is a 5 out of freaking 5. Come on now. You should have a physical copy of this in your collection. I think I do, to be honest. But you should have a physical copy of this album in your collection. Let me read you a quote real quick. And this is by 50 Cent. Obviously, yeah, 50 has some credit and some people may trash on him, but this is true right here. This is true right here. 50 Cent said, and I quote, as soon as I can find it, yes, he told NME that Paid in Full was the first album he bought, and I'm quoting him right here. I used to get my grandmother's tape recorder, the one she used to tape church services and record hip-hop off the radio. And with Eric B. and Rakim, I think that was the first moment where I felt like, I've got to own this. This is crucial. Exactly, right there. You should have a physical copy of this album in your collection now. I shouldn't have to tell you to go out and buy this. You should be able to go and get this. So, yeah, there you go with that. Now, with that said again, 5 out of 5, physical copy in collection. So with that said, y'all know who this is. This your boy, the new Jake Ashby, aka New Stephen A. Smith, saying peace out, y'all, and I'll see y'all next time. Yeah.